Hi guys, my name's Seb Tudor, I'm the man on Silver Mountain and welcome back. Today I wanted to talk about something a little bit more fun, um, and that is why I play games. I mean, you've probably seen me playing games on the weekend as part of the kind of work-life balance, just chill out videos that I've been trying to do so far, just because playing games is easier for me at the moment than um, trying to get more mobile to do more, which I promise will happen in the future, but games will have to do for the moment. And considering everything else that I talk about and all the other things that I do and so on and so forth, I want to just mention why I play and what I get out of them, because there's games oddly still are a fairly controversial media at times, and they're an absolutely huge part of the economy now, and they mean a lot of different things to a lot of different people. And one of the things that I would like to do on this channel is maybe do a little bit more on kind of game design and the way that games work and how which games I gravitate to, and some of the theories that kind of come out of and revolve around the use of games and stuff like that. I want to do. I want to run a tabletop game of some description in the future that I'll write myself, and I'll do breakdowns of the various episodes on how I wrote them and balanced them and did things like that as I go. Just because I think it'd be interesting and fun for people, especially people who say like watching the various D&D or tabletop shows that people do, like the ones on Geek and Sundry or that Rooster Teeth do or whatever. Lots of people appreciate those, but they don't see the work that goes into making the actual adventure and setting stuff out and how that's been worked around so much. And so I'd like to go into that because it's something that I've been doing since about 10 years old, 11 years old. And as a result, coming as I'm now 28, I've been doing it for a fair while, and people have enjoyed my games, and I want to bring more of that to you guys as well, as something that I can also get an awful lot of meaning from. But why do I play games? Well, I play games with all sorts because, firstly, yeah, they're fun. There's no two ways about that. They're a fun, entertaining little experience to take part in, either by myself or with others or against others or whatever. I've mentioned before that I'm not a big fan of player versus player stuff. I mean, even though Overwatch is Overwatch is a game I'm interested in to a degree, but more because of the lore side of things. But Paladins is a game that is very player versus player, and I've played a fair amount of that. But that's partly because other people have enjoyed it, and partly because it's been a really good and easy test to run on the channel. And matches don't take that long, so it's been a thing that I can kind of make sure that I don't overrun by too much. But I'm very much one that enjoys exploring. I love story. I love picking things to pieces and working stuff out. And as a result, games give me a lot of games, not all of them, but a lot of games give me an awful lot of what I want. And as a result, also in regards to things attached to gaming, like role play, I've done live action role play. I've got all manner of armor and bits and pieces kicking around. My brother still goes. I decided to take a step back from it for a while for various reasons. But what it comes down to is the reason why I get involved in those things are the same reason why I play games, and that, for the most part, is I like getting stuff done. I like setting out goals. I like achieving them, and to a degree, I enjoy achieving them with other people and seeing them be badasses whilst I'm being a badass, and we can all move on together. And as a result, there's a lot that you can take out of playing games to kind of extract it and work around it and work with it in real life. There was a book that I read a while ago by, I believe her name is Shelley Mazzanoble. I could be wrong on that. But she wrote a book called Everything I Needed to Know I Learned from Dungeons & Dragons, and she very much lays out how D&D in particular helped her in various ways kind of pinpoint certain things that she needed to learn or things that were useful. Dungeon masters have to do an awful lot of managing expectations, of leading people, of storytelling, of writing, of the maths behind it, of things like that. There's an awful lot that can potentially go into those games that they plan out, and as a result there's an awful lot that can be taken away from those as well. You can, in a role-playing game for instance, be it online or offline, you can put yourself into the shoes of a character that is somewhat similar to you or completely different from you, and you can try and foster different behaviors. You can trial and error ways that you may want to act, that you may not want to act, that you're not sure about. You can try these things in your own head whilst you're working out what you're doing in just a game, in a relaxed environment that's kind of safe. And as a result, you can then take learnings away from that. Walking around in a different mask, in a different set of hats or shoes, can allow you to appreciate things in a completely different light. But the thing is, then also think about the number of books and films that are kind of held up as masterpieces, and that there are so many things that you can learn from them and take away from them in various different areas of life. Things that you can take away from them that can be applied all over the job. It's the same applies to an awful lot of games, but some of the games that you're playing are actually conveying elements of transferable skills like resource management or prioritization and organization, that you can then, because they are practical skills you're applying in the game and practicing in the game, you can then bring them out into the world and apply them in a larger setting. I couldn't touch type. I couldn't type well at all until I started playing online games and I needed to communicate. And then just through forcing myself to communicate with other people to achieve goals and to achieve success, I can now type at a ridiculously fast pace. And as a result, it's a case of playing those games, moving through those simulations, moving through those situations that you're put into. They allow you to gain from them. They allow you to get an awful lot from them in various different ways. But then moving on to the negative aspect that's been apparent a lot again recently, because you've got these puritanical elements of society of one sort or another that are coming out against video games as a medium in one form or another. In regards to those, I've got to say, well, they're in regards to literature, in regards to music, art, movies, TV, whatever, all of these other forms have all of the negative themes that are being described and thrown at as accusations towards games. And when I'm sat here and I'm listening to them and I'm watching them, and I'm kind of sat back and I'm going, but you've got all of these things in all of life. Why wouldn't you include them in a game? That you're not going, if games can be treated as learning experiences, even if you're on a completely different planet and doing whatever, there are so many benefits to gaming through kind of cultural appreciation of what's gone into a game as a story, of the skills that you're having to put into it, the things that you get back from it are much, much more than you would get, say, from a book or a TV show, in my opinion, because you are practicing skills, you are actively thinking your way through something, as well as gaining all that you would get from a movie or a book. And there are just as many shitty books and movies, if not far, far more, than there are shitty games. The are completely irredeemable from how terrible they are or how negative they are in various ways. But I since I was a kid, I enjoyed playing games of various sorts. Once I got online, there was just this whole world of new storytelling experiences for me to dip into. And as I've said before, I love stories. Everyone tells stories. They're a core of the way that we communicate and interact with one another. You know, anecdotes are a huge thing. You know, you will have someone trying to explain something to you and they will tell a story to help your understanding. Games can do that so much better than any other medium because they allow you to directly interact with that thing. Think about it this way: how many times have you sat there and been reading a book, and just because you're tired, just because you're phasing out, just because the book is so dull, you're missing meaning, you're missing sections, you're having to go back and read the same page 2 or 3 times to actually have it make sense in your head. You're getting bored and you're just having to put it down. A game allows you to stay engaged, to focus on what's going on through action, through the practice of other skills, whilst you're still able to attain that meaning, whilst you're still able to pick that stuff up. Granted, some games are just fairly brainless and they may not be an awful lot to take away from them, but there's always going to be something. There's going to be something that you can do. As for the people that go, games make children violent, if you're letting children play games that are that violent, that would possibly suggest that, then chances are you're breaking the law, because games, movies, things like that, they're controlled products. You know, I used to work for a cinema. I'm for a cinema chain. I am well aware of how those products are controlled as part of legislation and so on. They're all controlled products. You can't just be throwing controlled products at children and assuming that they'll be fine because it's a movie or whatever else. And then if there is a negative impact, you can't complain about it. You're the one that's given it to them. You're the one that's let them play it. It's your fault, essentially. There are enough warnings on these products. Don't let them do it. But anyway, I'm getting off topic. I'm going off on weird tangents. I play games because they're awesome, because you can learn from them, because you can experiment in them, and because they are an absolutely amazing way to tell stories. Any of you who haven't played the Beginner's Guide or played things like the Stanley Parable even, those are great, really passive gaming experiences that still tell a really interesting and convoluted story in various ways. And then you've got the big AAA games that tell these amazing sweeping stories that, again, easily compare to modern blockbuster movies and so on and so forth. You know, you can create a game in relation to as many things as you can write a book about or create a movie about. It's a really easy and open thing, and it's a fun and interesting way to take in new ideas and new information. But yeah, for those of you out there that are watching this that do play games, why do you guys play games? I always ask this question of people that I play with. You know, why do you want to play? What are you playing for? Is it just for the fun? Is it because of the story? Is it because you just like ganking fools? You know, let me know. Otherwise, if you found this at all interesting, drop me a like and subscribe for more, and I'll see you in the video tomorrow. Take care, guys.